What's up? How you doing? Here we are, Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. My kids are done with school and the summer officially begins. I remember when I was growing up, and this isn't every school, but in my case, it was most of the schools. They would give you a list of books to read during the summer, which would get on my nerves. Now, I don't mind reading, but I want to read what I want to read, things that interest me. And I didn't want to read their things in the summertime. I wanted to be away from school during the summertime. It wasn't like if I didn't read their books during the summer, I was going to forget everything. It's like, I didn't read anything and I forgot how to read. Can't do basic math anymore. But they'd give you the list. It was 5 books, and you had to read them during the summer. And then at the beginning of the first quarter, sometime in the very beginning, they would give you a test on the books. So that kind of screwed up the summer a little bit. But this year, I went and bought a book that I want to read during the summer. And it's a good book. It's a page turner. I love Grover from Sesame Street. I used to watch that all the time. Love the Fur You're In. Monster Wit and Wisdom from Sesame Street. They got that in the back. But I'm a big fan of Grover. I love Sesame Street. Look at that. It's a good neighborhood. Good neighborhood. Look at that big bird. But I like that house that Gordon and Susan lived in. Nice little house. And right next to it was Oscar the Grouch, and right behind was the bird's nest, Big Bird. And then Ernie and Bert, they lived, I think, in the same apartment. And that's how I discovered Sesame Street. My father, when I was really, really small, like that big, we were in the kitchen, and I was sitting at the kitchen table, and my father was flipping through the dial, flipping, and he got to channel 2. And I saw Bert and Ernie, and he kept going. I go, stop there, go back. I go, what is that? And my father called every cartoon or anything that looked like Muppets, he called it Mickey Mouse. It's just Mickey Mouse. I go, okay, let me watch it. So I watched it, and I became a huge fan of Sesame Street, and then later on the Electric Company and Zoom. But I love Sesame Street. I've said this before, and I've said this before, but I actually took my father one time. I made him take me around the city to find where this Sesame Street was, and he actually got out of the car, and maybe he pretended to ask, but he would go up to people and ask, like, where, you know what Sesame Street is? Now we know it's in a studio in New York City, but back then I thought, looks like a real street. I wanted to bump into this Mr. Hooper's little grocery store, and then this Snuffleupagus. See, now everybody knows that Snuffy is real. But when I was a kid, Big Bird would say, oh, my friend Snuffleupagus came by. And everybody would be like, that's Big Bird's imaginary friend. So it's Snuffleupagus. I used to say Snuffleupagus. My way sounds better. And then I love this the Count. He would count things, and then he'd laugh. I loved his castle, or that palace he lived in. It was awesome. I love these two guys here. Look at that. Bert and Ernie. There was an episode one time where they were sitting on two chairs, and they said if you use your imagination, you can pretend you're flying. And then I guess they put them on a green screen and they were flying. And ever since then, I've been wanting to do that paragliding thing. Guy Smiley. Guy Smiley, he was the game show host. Love Guy Smiley. Get that Guy Smiley. Oscar the Grouch. There was Harry the Monster. Harry, I liked him. Of course, Cookie Monster, but I was gonna say Munster, like the Munsters. There's Snuffy. It's a good book. See, if they gave us books like this to read during high school, I'd read them because I'm interested in this book. But they gave us, I remember they gave us 1 year Ivanhoe. 1 year they gave us Ivanhoe and Lee Iacocca, the autobiography or the biography. Which Lee Iacocca, interesting guy, but Ivanhoe, that's not a book I would pick on my own to read. But I had a Grover book growing up, and he was doing construction. He had a measure, a wooden one, and he was working with a hammer, and I would read that over and over and over. This is Mr. Hooper's store. Look at that. Got the Count, Big Bird, and Ernie down below. Yeah, there's Harry in the back there. I never got into Elmo. Elmo was after my time, and I never got into Elmo. But yeah, the Count Dracula. What a good character that was. I always wanted to visit this Sesame Street because I'm, from the city, and this show spoke to me. Look at this ridiculous picture. I guess Bert went to get a physical, and it says always wear clean underwear. Look at that. Yeah, I like this book. There was also a guy, a Muppet, who, he was kind of like the guy from Police Academy, that guy that can make noises with his mouth. And he would do that too, and he would leave blanks in sentences. He would say, I heard and then he would make the sound of a bird up on the tree yesterday. I like that character. There's everybody here on the rain. Friends can help you weather any storm. Got some spaceship. Speaking of spaceships, oh, here's a cool picture with Oscar. He's got a balloon on top of his trash can and he's floating around the neighborhood. I want to do that. I've always wanted to take a hot air balloon ride somewhere, but I want to go by myself. I don't want, I don't know, supervisors. Just show me how to work the heat and let me go. I'd love to get on one of those and then just be up there for a few hours. I don't know, going, following the jet stream and then landing somewhere and trying to figure out where I am. Maybe more than that, maybe like 5 hours. Bring a Subway sandwich up there. Big fan of that. Big fan of hot air balloons. And they seem relatively safe. Oh, there's the guy. He's the guy that would make noises with his mouth. Waiter, what is this fly doing in my soup? I saw that episode. Yeah, this is a really good book. Oh, and this, I remember these two guys. They were construction workers. Look at that, right here. Remember, you're always welcomed on Sesame Street. I would do anything to be invited on the set in the studio where they shot this. I would love to be invited and to be left alone. Somebody to say, go explore, check things out. I mean, give me the tour at first, and then leave me alone. Let me go and investigate on my own. But look at that. So, I highly recommend this book. If you have children over the age of 20, get them this book. So, that's it. I have incredible tea here. Look at that. This tea is awesome. Pure Cleylon Tea. Cleylon Tea. This is tea hand-picked, organic from Sri Lanka. It's loose leaf. It's packed in Sri Lanka. And I've had it a bunch of times now, and I can't tell you how good it is unless you try it. Smells great, like tea, but this is real tea. Has the caffeine and everything. So I'm gonna make a little bit and sip it down. So I'll be back. We're gonna make some tea. I have the infuser. We put it halfway because it expands. This tea contains about 50 to 60 milligrams of caffeine per cup. I mean, depending on how much but average. So there we go, right there. I love this tea. If you get your hands on this, very good tea. So there's a spark. That was a good blast. I've had worse before. I'll tell you a story, a short story. Many years ago, this was, I know exactly when it was, but it was during Christmas season. And a friend of mine calls me up. His name was O'Brien. Calls me up and he says, I'm gonna go in town, you want to come with me? I want to do some Christmas shopping. I said, yeah, sure. So I met up with him and we went downtown, and he bought ties and stuff like that. And then we're kind of walking around downtown, and I noticed green smoke coming from within a manhole cover. From underneath there was a hole, and green smoke was coming. And I said, wow, look at that. I go, green smoke coming out of that. What is that? And I stepped on it with my left foot. And as I stepped on it, the whatever that was in there exploded. And the manhole cover came off the ground and a flame shot up. And this side of my but it was an instant. It wasn't like it lasted for a while. And this side of my body, all the way, my hair on the side, burnt. And it smelled like that sulfur, whatever. And it was a loud explosion. I mean, it blew the manhole cover right off. So anyway, it blew it off, and I went home after that. He went his way, and I went my way. And I didn't tell anybody about that. I didn't tell my parents or anything. I didn't really have that kind of relationship with my parents to discuss details if it never came up. And even if it came up, I would say, I don't know what happened. But yeah, I didn't have that. Some people, they run to their mother, they run to their father, and they express everything that's happening. I never did that, ever. I didn't have that relationship, and that wasn't my style to have an experience with my friends or whatever, and then run to my parents and tell them about it. I didn't have that. I still don't have that. And I didn't really hang around with people that had that. I mean, I knew people, and I was friends with people that had that, but you had to watch out with people like that, because if you ever did something, and everybody would find out, so you want to keep away from people like that. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, I went home and went straight to the shower, turned on the hot water, and I washed up, and in the bathroom, all you could smell was that sulfur smell from my hair that had burnt. But I washed it, and all came off, all the burnt stuff. And then I looked in the mirror, and you couldn't tell. It was like like I got a trim. So I don't know. I mean, and that kid, that O'Brien kid, I was friends with him for a few years, but I haven't seen him since high school. And you wonder if he would remember that situation. He should, because it was kind of dramatic. But if I ever saw him again, I did hear he became a teacher. So, good kid. We hung around together, and for a bit there, a few years. But yeah, he was with me that time, and we never found out what happened. I don't know why that, it was electrical or something, but it exploded. It was loud. But I didn't get injured, other than getting burnt a little bit, but I didn't get, injured. So that's what happened. So I have some good tea here. Yeah, a lot of friends that I knew back in high school I haven't seen since graduation day high school. Yeah. You think you're going to see them, but life takes you in a different direction. But I wouldn't mind bumping into a few of them. I had a friend of mine became a police officer, and one day I was at Home Depot, bought some stuff, and then I went to the parking lot, and I was heading for my car, and I hear, Nick. I heard my name. I turned around. I didn't see anybody. I kept walking, and then I hear, Nick. And I turned around, and the only thing I could see was a police officer sitting in a cruiser, and he had those sunglasses that look like mirrors. And I look, and I could see whoever it was kind of like smiling. And I said, they know me? I don't know if they know me. So I walked a little bit closer, and I saw that it was a good friend of mine from high school. And I said, I didn't know you were a cop. And he said, yeah, I'm a cop. And I had another friend who became a police officer. And I ran into him one time. I was walking, it was nighttime, and I was heading to a little corner store a couple of blocks from my house. And I took a left to cut through a gas station parking lot, and I hear my name again. And I turn around and I look, but at this point I was kind of close to the truck. It was a truck, and I realized it was a friend of mine, and I went and spoke to him. And he says to me, I just got married. I said, good for you. And so when I ran into my other friend at Home Depot, which was probably like, I want to say like maybe 3 weeks later, I said to him, did you hear who got married? He goes, yeah, and he rolled his eyes. Because this friend that I'm speaking of was kind of against getting married. He was going to be, you know, single his whole life and all, you know, doing his own thing. Well, he got married like 10 years ago. So, yeah, you never know. Anyway, it's steaming and it's hot enough. I'm a big fan of tea. I love tea. I knew these people from northern India, and they said to me one time, you want some tea? And I said, sure. And they made me some tea, and they added cardamom in there and everything, and milk, and it was loose leaf tea, Lipton. And I said, wow, that's an amazing cup of tea. But I've always been a fan of tea. Love tea. There was a time when I would drink coffee once in a blue moon. Maybe 2-3 years would go by before I had a cup of coffee, you know. But now, in my older years, I have a cup of coffee once a day. 1 cup of coffee once a day. No more than that. And I know people, they make like a, you know, a cup of coffee and they have one every half hour throughout the day, always sipping coffee. I don't do that. I find too much coffee makes you feel weird, you know, if you have a lot of caffeine at once. So I'm not a fan of that. Getting dark out. Left it on. I like the heat. Feels soothing. I was watching a video on YouTube, and it was about bear attacks. And some family up in the mountains, helicopter. But a family up in the mountains had captured a grizzly bear, and they had it tied up, a rope around the neck. And the woman, she would get close and feed it. You know, if she had, I don't know what she had in her hand, piece of steak. And at one point she got a little too close, and the bear reached in with the claws and pulled her, and she couldn't get loose. And he was like, you know, grabbing her and everything. And then the 2 tough guys she was with, they got some sticks, and they started beating the bear. Otherwise he would have mauled her to death. He would have killed her, like that Leonardo DiCaprio movie that what the hell was that called? I forget. Raven? I don't know. I don't think Raven, but it was a CGI bear, but it looked real. And Leonardo was fighting it, I think, with a knife. Yeah, bears are vicious animals. They're crazy. Matter of fact, there's a movie, came out in 1976. Very cheesy. It's almost like Jaws on land. It's called Grizzly. Check it out. Grizzly, 1976. The acting is ridiculous. The story is ridiculous, but entertaining. Entertaining. Yeah, I let the tea seep 5 minutes, whatever. But in my house, when you said make me some tea, they would take the tea bag, dunk it up and down, you know, 3-4 times like that, and then take it out and drink the tea. I don't do that. I like my tea a little strong. 5 minutes. 5 minutes is good. Shut it off here. You know, when I was a kid, you'd go to a gas station and gasoline was like 89 cents for regular, 99 cents for the medium one, and like $1.09 for the high octane. And, you know, we thought decent price, but we didn't think it was cheap either. I remember I had a car back then, a little Mazda, a 626 Mazda, and I'd fill it up for like less than $20, 15 bucks, and 300 miles for a gallon. I mean, for not a gallon, no way. 300 miles for a tank full, like 15 bucks, $16. And now, big difference.
I've come
All right.
to do it with you.
Okay, have a seat. I mean, there's a town out here where gasoline right now, as I make this video, regular, I think is $9.69 a gallon. So
It used to be like $2.
yeah, it used to be.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. When it went up to $2, I go, wow, that's crazy. $2. I remember when it was $1.49. I was filling up and I was looking, and it was $1.49 a gallon, and I thought that was crazy. But
Now you think of it now.
now I think it's a deal, but back then I saw, you know, like $1.49. I was like, wow, remember the old days when it was like 99 cents, 89 cents? And my father was a fan of Sunoco. He loved Sunoco gas, and he always got super. He had a station wagon, but he always got super. Years ago, he'd get regular. But then somebody said to him, get the super. My father thought he was racing people. He needed high octane. And super doesn't do anything for your car unless your car is designed for super. If your car's not designed for super, you're wasting money. But anyway, he'd get the super, fill it up super. And every once in a while, like once a month, he would say, give me some Ultra. And my father would give me advice about gas. He would say to me, you should put Ultra once in a while. You know, it's good for your car. And I would be like, yeah, I could put it, but I don't think it'll make a difference. I mean, my car had 110,000 miles on it. Mazda 626, 1981. And I don't think if I put super, it would have made any difference. But my father thought Ultra was like the answer for everything. Extended the engine life, made you go fast, was clean, all that stuff. And then one time he noticed, I forget what product it was some food product, and it said Ultra Rich. And my father said, oh, they're taking the stuff from gasoline now and using it for food. I said to him, Ultra is not necessarily for gas.
Ultraviolet. Oh wow, so that's gas now?
Yeah, my father thought they invented the word Ultra, and Ultra was for gasoline. So we're gonna try some of this tea.
What about
Which I've had. Well, I didn't know you were coming. If I knew you were coming.
I was coming. I said I was gonna go get my pajamas. Because I was in
okay,
my
if you
dress.
want, I can make you tea. Go get me a cup and bring the sugar, and I'll make you some tea. This tea is awesome. A little dark out here, and the reason it's a little dark is because, well, the light that I usually have on here on the side blew out, so I have to get a new light. But it's good enough. Good enough. But this is great tea. Man. can't tell you how much I love tea. I remember years ago, many years ago, not recently, but I'd go see my grandmother, you know, like, I don't know, we'd have to do something and we'd pass by there for a few minutes, and my grandmother would be up at like 6 a.m. and she'd have that morning voice, and she'd be sipping a cup of tea or something in the morning if she didn't feel well. But she had that sound you have, you know, when you call somebody and you could tell that they just woke up, and you go, I woke you up, and they're like, no, I've been up for hours. Meantime, they have that morning sound. Some people, they call me, you know, and they say, oh, I'm sorry I woke you up, and I'm like, you didn't wake me up. If you woke me up, I'd tell you woke me up. And not only that, if I was sleeping ever and the phone rang and I was really sleeping, I wouldn't pick it up. So when somebody says to me, did I wake you up, the answer is always no, because if I was sleeping and the phone woke me up, I wouldn't pick it up. So I just wouldn't, because there's no one that I need to talk to when I'm asleep, you know. And it's like, oh, the phone's ringing, let me get up and answer that. So they ask me, they say, oh, I woke you up. I go, no, you didn't wake me up, because you wouldn't be talking to me if I was sleeping. Even if I woke up and the phone was ringing, I wouldn't pick it up. I wouldn't be like, hello, yeah, what do you need? You know, I wouldn't do that. With my, you know, detective or something, they're contacting me. Okay, I want to make you some.
What's this?
This is where the tea is.
Why is it so dark now?
Because I told you the light blew out.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh. I thought like it just got darker because of summer.
No, it's not.
And today was our last day.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Graduation, sad. Got a lot of awards. Got the best award, because get best student.
They got high honor roll, and they got overall.
Like the best.
Yeah, overall high honor roll.
I asked my friend if they remembered, and I told them, and they're like, "Wow, you guys did! Wow, I'm so happy for you." And then they said, "You and your sister are so amazing." Like,
oh, yes. So anyway, that's what happened today.
my hands hurt from clapping all day.
I clapped like this.
I clapped like this so I would make like it sound loud.
My father, when he would clap, there would be like 80 people in the room, and my father would clap, and you could hear him above everyone else. It was like a bassy clap, very like pop pop pop. Like, and you'd have the other ones, and I'm like, you don't mix well. You don't blend in with the clapping. It was like I don't know, like a really, you know, everybody else was like. And then I remember going to concerts, and you always had like some delicate woman that would be a couple rows over, and she clapped like this. I'm like, nobody can hear you. Nobody.
Well, it's like you're doing this, putting one molecule with another molecule.
Right.
Does it make a sound? No.
Right. She would like barely. You can't even hear it now, and there's no one around.
This is how normal people should clap. But this is how she clapped.
Yeah.
But you could hear a little.
And I like when you know, you have a certain style of female that waves like this. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, it's kind of like.
It's like you're doing like you're gonna put your hand in a fist, but you're like, I can't do it. I can't. I'm locked.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Where are you?
We're on the back. What's the problem?
What are we gonna eat now?
Okay, hold on. All right.
I like this bench because we can all sit at the same level.
Yeah, I got this at Costco. Anyway.
I would have to use my chair that I use inside, and I'd be like this. like this, and then Baba would be like right here or something. Like his knees would be at like the table. I'm like, wait, what? I like sugar, but if you eat too much sugar, heart go to the moon and then to outside of the universe.
So what do you think of this book?
I like it. And we would watch Sesame Street all the time. When me and Isabella were younger, we would watch it all the time. We would ask, we would annoy him and be like, "Can you turn on the TV for us? Can you? We want to watch Sesame Street." We would always do that, and like when they would go on from like the other shows, like they would also show like this other thing. It was like a pixie fairy. I think she's in the book right now. Yeah. This girl. So there was like this pirate, and she had like 2 other friends. I don't know who the other 2 friends were, but they would have to fly through places, and they would have to find like this magical stuff. And they would always go through places, and they would have like always these quests, but they would be always after the show had the pause, like the Sesame Street show. And I really liked that, but since we got older, we stopped watching it. But I would like to watch it again, but I don't remember what channel it's on. Remember?
No, I don't. I know what channel it was on when I was a kid, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, but because now it's like has like billions of channels, like Disney Plus, HBO, like there's like billions of channels. But when you're younger, like
we had 4 channels. We had more than 4 on the UFH side, but we had 4 channels, actually 3. The 4th one was on only like during the day, and then it would go blank. But we had channel 4, 5, and 7. ABC, NBC, CBS, and then we had PBS on channel 2.
What's PBS?
That's like the public broadcasting service or system. Yeah. I used to watch that, but at around 8 p.m. it would go off the air, and then the other ones would go off the air, but later on, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and they had that screen thing with the sound. But yeah, that was. Now they're round the clock. What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm just looking at the windows.
Oh, looking up into space, I will mention I heard some sad news on the Webb telescope today. I think it's true. I haven't confirmed it 100%, but it's been reported that one of the mirrors on the telescope got damaged because it got hit by some space debris. A little particle, tiny little thing traveling at who knows how many thousands of miles per hour smashed into one of the mirrors. So that's a little bit annoying for me, since I've been waiting for images from a 100% capable Webb telescope.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yes.
And also, like, I'm just gonna go back to like the graduation thing. There was some people that just did not show up. I had like this friend. Can I say his name?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Leo. I have him as a friend, but he said that he's not coming. So yesterday he said that, like, he told me that it looks like somebody skipped to school, and I said, who? And he said, me. But I came there at the correct time we were supposed to practice at. And then he gives me this whole story that he had to go somewhere, and that he meant to say himself. I don't know how you tried to type me to you, like you typed in me and then mew or something. And then also, like, he said he was not even coming to the graduation, so what was the point in coming to the practice if you're not gonna go? So also today, the graduation, we had this other girl. She not comes. She never comes anyway. Like, she always stays somewhere, and she always says like, oh, I get sick when I go to my dad's house. Like, my brothers are always sick. She always gets sick. But we don't know if she actually gets sick from that. And we saw everybody else, but yeah. And there was like 3 people that were graduating today. It was so sad. and because we're never gonna see them again. Well, like they're still in the world. Like we could, like they could come to like this our school, but we don't know when they'll come back.
You know, I had a friend who they would kind of coddle him a little bit. He was one of those mama's boys.
What's a mama boy?
That's somebody who spends a little too much time with their mother, even though they've grown up and they're still fascinated with having this extreme bond with their mother. And he had that, and so
like if
he had an agreement with her, that every Monday he would stay home. And he did that for a bunch of Mondays in a row. And I remember one of the teachers one day, French teacher, she noticed, she was always noticing things. She noticed, and she said at the end of the class, she's like, does anybody know, and I'm not going to use his name because, but does anybody know why he's never in on Mondays? And I didn't say anything. I knew why. And you always get that kid that wants the teacher to know that he knows something. And he's gonna raise his hand, and she's like, yes. And she goes, and he said to the teacher, his mother lets him stay home, gives him a 3-day weekend. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. She goes, okay, thank you for letting me know. So
that's such an annoying kid.
Yes.
Just like you just want to keep a secret with your friend, and then just imagine that kid, that smart kid, says to the friend, saying the kid that stays at home, saying so your friend Nick told on you, saying that your mom lets you stay home, and then boom, you're not friends anymore. Just
right.
Imagine.
So anyway, he says this, and then the French teacher, yes, she was like, oh, she goes, that's interesting. Now when they say that's interesting, they don't mean it's interesting. They mean
yeah. Now thank you for letting me know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk with them.
Now I'm gonna have a talk. So next day we're in class, and my friend is there too, and she's not saying anything, and I go, maybe she forgot. Well, she didn't want to take away from the teaching part of the class, so we waited to the very end, and she says, she didn't say, I'd like to talk to you after class. She says to him, can I ask you a question? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, I've noticed that you don't come in on Mondays. Is there a reason for that? And of course his immediate response is, I'm sick. I got sick. And she's like, well, you get sick every Monday? And he didn't know what to say, and he kind of kept saying, well, he goes, I get sick. And so she goes, I think I'm going to have a talk with your mother. She did one of those, shut that down. And so I guess she had a talk with the mother, and for the next few Mondays, 4 or 5 Mondays, he showed up. He would show up, and that became history, because right after that he started taking Mondays off again. But they gave him a warning. They said to him,
okay, do it to me.
If you don't complete X amount of days, I don't know if it was 180 or something, you will not graduate, or not graduate, but you will not go to the next grade. And then he started coming in again. But he got right up to that point where he was going to be not able to go on, because they would take you aside and say you didn't complete enough days. You took too much of a vacation. And so
that's what that girl I was talking about. That's what she does. She leaves do you know how there's 5 days? She comes 1 day. It's like what's the point of going to school if you're not gonna go?
Right. Yeah, you don't learn a lot of things that way. You go home and it's one thing to take a day off.
You get the homework.
Every, I don't know, few months, right? But if you're gonna take a day off once a week, you lose out, and then you go back and you're kind of confused, and you don't know what's going on, and they're talking about something you've never heard before.
Yeah, we have a teacher, she always asks if all the kids are there, and then there could be a kid missing for a day, but they're back the next day, and then she asks who's in the class today, and I say my friend, my other friend. So she, he, she, but then I say, and then she's not here, and then she's like, oh. because she does that because she's never there. My friend, she's never there. Like she like is like maybe for a day or like an hour or something. She just like shows up, but then for like the rest of the 4 days, boom, disappears. Doesn't know where she goes. And then when we ask her what happened to you, she's like, I got sick.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to go, and the thing is, it's hard to retain information throughout your life from what you've learned in school, but you still have to learn it. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to remember it, so what's the point? But as long as you know how to read well, and you know how to do, arithmetic, you don't have to, calculus or trigonometry, things like that. I mean, because most people don't know how to do that after they get out of high school. Because you don't keep practicing. You'd have to have a profession where you're constantly using that kind of math in order for you to retain it. Right now, my kids are growing up. I have basically relearned everything that I learned back when I was a kid. Because you have to help them with their homework, so you're always learning stuff.
And sometimes, like, you forget, so you have to be like, how'd you learn this in class? And you're like, I don't know.
Well, the thing with today's world is that if you have an issue with some kind of problem, you can go and get a tutorial on YouTube, and it'll show you the process, and you pick it up right away. You're like, oh, how'd you do that? And then you type in, an example, and they will give you an example, and then you know how to do the whole thing.
Yeah, and sometimes, so like one that we learned from like YouTube, it's like PEMDAS, like parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, addition or subtraction, PEMDAS, or like please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or please eat my donut at 6.
Right.
So those, and okay, yeah, and there's this video that it's like it's called Math Antics, and it's like showing like, okay, so a problem of 10 times 1 plus 5. Okay, so I like addition first, so I'm gonna do 5 plus 1 plus 5, that's 6 times 10, 60. So we got that. So okay, so I like multiplication more, so I'm gonna do 10 times 1, 10, times 5, 50. Okay, now let's see why it's correct. Okay, so the one that you got 60 on is incorrect because PEMDAS multiplication is before addition. So that's why that one's incorrect. So multiplication is before addition, so that's why 50 is correct. So that's why.
Yeah, so that's funny in math. If you don't follow that process, you don't get the right answer. I mean, logically, if you think of it without knowing all that, you would think that, no matter how you do it, it should be the same, but it's not. Anyway, but that's the thing in today's world. Any question you have, if you don't know how to do a problem or something in, English or whatever, you can find examples of it on the internet. Now, totally dark, yeah. So anyway,
just wave the spoon.
We're gonna go inside. I'm probably gonna eat. How's the tea?
Really good. I really like it, and make this again.
Yes, this is tea from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it's a little island there. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna go and have a meal. We went and had some good lunch today.
At Batagalui.
Yeah, we had some good lunch.
Graduation.
Had some ribeye, and what did you have?
I had chicken parmesan.
Chicken parmesan, yeah, and we had had a good meal. You go to these places that are busy and people are talking, and it sounds like aliens, humming.
Yeah, and like when you're just trying to listen to something, it's like you have to put it on full volume and you still can't hear it. Well, say your goodbyes.
Okay, we're gonna turn off now, and we'll be back in the future.